in and around the capital of Beijing. The dish that we're doing is Moo Shu Chicken. And the interesting thing about this particular dish, it's in effect sort of a takeoff on the classic banquet dish known as Peking duck, where you roast duck in a special way where the skin gets like paper thin, wafer thin, I should say, crisp. And basically, it's served on little pancakes. In English, it perhaps somewhat inaccurately is called Peking doilies, little thin pancakes, and which is smeared with a condiment known as in English as red bean paste, or sometimes referred to as hoisin sauce. And with that, various garnishes. This Moo Shu chicken, it's a little more of a straightforward version of that. And so for the filling will be a stir fry with chicken and assorted vegetables. So there's a lot of techniques in this dish. So why don't we get started right away? First thing up is really how to cut the vegetables and the chicken for the filling. Okay, so what we have here. Okay, I have basically a julienne of celery and carrots, and just for like a little knife skill review. Okay, let me kind of show you so you have a little better angle so you could view. So again, we're talking about 1/8 by 1/8 by about, in this case, inch and a half long. Okay, and pretty much we'll do the same. We've done the same thing for the celery. No, excuse me, for the carrots. Then we have our scallions or green onions. Okay, kind of a not kind of definitely a bias cut. So the knife we have at a 45-degree angle to the vegetable. Okay, so that will be a bias cut for the scallions. And again, it would be nice if I had my Chinese cleaver, which I left in school. Okay, for the cabbage, we're going to do a basic chiffonade. Okay, so we're going to go ahead, we're going to sort of roll that cabbage up like so. And whether straight or at an angle, it's like a thin shred. And keep in mind that when we get to the point where we put all these items together in the wok, we're going to add it in a certain order. Ideally, those items that require a little longer cooking will go into the wok first. Those items that cook relatively quickly will go in last. Flavor and condiments will go in after that. Okay. And last but not least, the mushrooms. I had a couple of choices. Ideally, I would have liked to use the dried shiitake mushrooms, really give it a nice thin flavor. I could not find them, so we have, again, our baby bellas. Okay, so we're just going to bisect them and cut them in about 1/2-inch slices, like so. And again, besides this, I have finely chopped garlic, finely chopped ginger. Okay, and that will round out the vegetable component or components of the dish. And the next thing I'd like to show you, okay, will be cutting the chicken. And let me do a little plastic wrap barrier. onto the cutting board. So this is a chicken breast, as I'm sure you could plainly see. Okay, one moment. Okay, my very tight fitting gloves. All right, so what we're going to do is go ahead and I'm going to cut these into a basically like a bias cut. And again, it's sort of to keep in mind that these are going to be stir fried. Typically in so much of Chinese and by extension Asian cuisine, okay, we definitely want to cut pieces so when they go into the intensity of the wok, they cook quickly and they cook evenly. All right. And now, and there's a lot of alternative techniques because, again, with wok cooking, because we work on such high heat, uh, you want to prepare things in such a way that they will cook quickly. And again, a lot of the prep in Chinese cooking, okay, may also involve like things like marination, may also involve things like pre-cooking, blanching. Sometimes these might be steamed partially ahead of time, so when it comes time to bring them to the wok, okay, they will be partially cooked and will cook that much more quickly. Okay, and I'll show you a few sample pieces. Okay, so something along these lines. We want to make them as even as possible. Okay. And in everybody will go. And again, so much of Asian cooking is based around preparation, especially with stir fry, where 95% of the effort is preparation, and the remainder is the actual cooking. Okay, let's get this sanitized. Let's get the chicken in the refrigerator. And indeed, okay, a little lemon. So we have a little bit of acidity. In lieu of, I know people like add bleach, vinegar, but vinegar is all right. Don't really like to use bleach unless you're really fastidious about rinsing it off. I just don't like the bleach on a surface that has intimate contact with food. Okay, so next thing I want to show you is making the dough for these pancakes. Again, known as Peking dumplings. And what we'll do, I'm going to heat up some water real quickly. And this is a very, very simple, very simple recipe. We're going to make a smooth, soft but elastic dough, and then we're going to let it rest for a while. And then what's going to happen, we're going to go on ahead and we're going to roll them out about 1/8 of an inch, cut them into circles. And on top of each circle, we're going to apply a little bit of sesame oil, toasted sesame oil. Then we take 2 of these circles, we sort of patch them together, roll them out, and then we're going to cook them on a griddle, okay? And they should puff up a little bit. And what happens, the 2 pieces start to come apart, and we just pull them apart. So you have like a kind of a brown, kind of like dry side. You have the inside that's very moist. Later we're going to reheat them by steaming them, and that's where we're going to put in our filling. Okay, so let's go on ahead. Okay, let's rev this up a little bit. And you know, this particular dish, you know, you could consider it sort of like an entree, but also it will not be out of place to be served as dim sum. Again, it comes from a region a bit far away from where dim sum comes from. Dim sum comes from basically Hong Kong, in the southeastern part of the country. Here we're talking about the northeast of the country as well. And okay, just want to, the water should be pretty much at a boil. Should watch it, it's never going to come to the boil. Okay, and so once this is done, this dough comes together really quickly. I'm going to do it by hand. You can also use a food processor as well. Okay, let's see. Almost there. Okay, it could be at a simmering too, but in food processor works, you know, real well because you know, you throw the flour in the food processor, water's at the boil. Put your food processor on, throw all the water in at once into the food processor. In about 10 seconds, you got dough ready to go. Okay, so let's go ahead. Very good. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna go on ahead. Here I have about all-purpose flour, straight all-purpose flour, nothing fancy. I have here about 1.5 cups flour. I have approximately 1/2 cup of water. Okay. Okay, go on ahead, mix it on up. Okay, and then what I'm going to do, let's get the whole 9 yards, as it were, in there. And get some of that off the spoon. And just everything onto the board. And we need to knead it. So again, just gather everything and fold it over. Give it a 1/4 turn, fold it over, just like you're making pasta dough. This is like pasta dough. It's a little, no, it is elastic, but a bit softer. Okay. The guide to the texture that you want from this particular dough, it should feel like your earlobe. Okay, let's gather all that around. And we've got a little couple of dry pieces, but waste not, want not, as they say. We're going to go ahead. Okay, just gather all that loose flour up like so. And just a little bit of water. Not much, a couple of drops, literally. Okay, and then just incorporate it into the rest of the dough. A little bit of flour so it doesn't stick quite so heavily onto my hands. And knead away. Probably, I would say about 5 to 8 minutes of kneading. Okay, and it's coming together, I think, pretty well. And, yep. Okay. So, basically, once this is done, and quite frankly, I could show you what the finished product looks like. Okay, so I just made this dough a few minutes ago. All right, and this is really ready, about almost ready to roll out. But so I'm going to finish this one as well. Okay.